Dr. Vijayakumar, I'm going to start with you. You are a practicing doctor.
Yes.
What's the biggest challenge that you see when it comes to healthcare in India?
Sorry, thank you for the questions, and thank you, Mr. Satish, for inviting me on this talk. Okay, I think whenever you talk about what is the biggest problem, so I think just this basic thing to start up with, what is the current existing problem in India? Okay, so we need to know what is available in our hand, then identify the problem, what has been done so far, and what has been in the future. Do we have some minutes?
Please.
Okay. So we know that India and China are the biggest populated country in the world. When do you think we are going to cross China? Another 2 to 3 years. Already we are 1.35 crores, 135 crores population. China is 137 crore population. Every second, as it just look here, the minute is going, every second there are 5 or 6 babies are born in this country. Okay? So we have a huge population, massive population. In any area of the world, if you take 1 out of every 6 populations are Indians. Okay, so what is that health problems? Okay, right. So after the independence, our major health problem was a infectious disease, tuberculosis, cholera, malaria. But now things have been moving away from that communicable disease, what we call as a communicable disease, to non-communicable disease. Especially cancer, the second thing will be the heart disease. Okay, among this 100% of, if you take the 100% people dying, out of the 100 people, the 60 to 70% of them dying because of the heart disease. Okay, fine. So, but how do we prevent it, or how do you overcome it? What's our government is doing it? If you take our GDP spent by the government for the health care, do we know anybody what's the percentage? It's 1.2%. We have such a huge population. Every second there are 5-6 babies are being born, but the government expenditure is only 1%. And how do you think the patients are able to pay? See, in the movies they are advertising the Singapore's treatment is free, America is free. It's free. It's all been covered under insurance. Here in India, unfortunately, the single common man from the middle class or poor class has to pay out of his pocket. Okay, so only 2% of our population has got an insurance. So 98% of them still they have to pay out of their pocket. So that means the huge amount of financial burden to the family. But does that mean that you can produce a suboptimal outcome? No. Okay, when the people come to you, they want to do things at a cheaper rate because obviously they are poor. 60% of Indians are poor, but they want the results equivalent to the Western countries. So this is the biggest challenge for a surgeon, somebody like me, and start treating heart disease. We don't have money, but we need to produce a good outcome. So, but what we have is currently existing. We are all purchasing everything from abroad, Western countries. We have few Indian companies who make stuff for us. Either that will be not proper, the quality wise, when you handle it, you could see the difference between the sutures made in India and the sutures made in the United States. Even though we have Indian companies, but they are not up to the standard. Same way, when you want to say that, okay, I need to change your valve, there are valves available in India as well as in abroad. Our people mindset, no doctor, I want to get a foreign valve. It's a challenge. No money. People simply would say, I want the valve to be put it in my site, which is made in America. I don't want to put it made in India. That's because we don't live up to our quality standard. We don't have a standard. Okay. So this is our, the one thing is population. A lot of disease problems exist. 1 out of 100 children is born with the congenital heart defects. 1 out of 100 children. And again, heart disease are 60 times more common than the cancer. This is all data has been given and put it in Google. You can just Google it, you get all this data. But the challenge is affordability, poor infrastructures, technology. We need to go way up to match with those guys. As somebody talked about, We don't want to talk about US, we need to talk about India. Yes, true. In India, we have a problem with, we are not buying from our own country. We have to buy from abroad. So obviously, importing, exporting, all those things, tax, the charges goes up. So the common man affordability is the biggest challenge. As a treating surgeon, we always find with a problem in the financing, the infrastructures. Okay, I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely. So, Vishnu, I would like to bring you in on this. As sir said, the problem is very fundamental. Too many people, too less money.
Right.
How does technology solve this?
Well, I will start with first by thanking Mr. Satish and Mr. Rajaraman for having me here. So, technology and healthcare is only now the real marriage is starting to happen, because it's very early. We are still in the very early stages. Last 10 years we have been talking about a lot of technologies and companies like a lot of e-commerce companies coming up. But currently still we have only a handful of technology companies in healthcare sector. So that is one real problem, because India has a lot of healthcare problems to solve. So I think I would urge all the people aspiring entrepreneurs actually to look at healthcare as a platform. Technology, again, we talk about two things. One is accessibility and affordability. First, when technology bridges the gap of accessibility. So it brings to your, now it brings to your doorstep, brings to your smartphone. So what happens is automatically it reduces the cost of expenses, whatever you bear. So it is first making accessible is the first challenge now all the companies who are using technologies are actually trying to make. For example, there is a data which says that there are only 4.9 doctors for every 10,000 people who live in the country. So how do we actually, now the queues are actually very long when you go for a consultation. So the problem, the solution lies in the technology. Again, see, it takes a lot of time for everybody to reach the hospital or the clinic. So now that is being bridged by technology, by online consultations. So this will reduce the cost for the patient also, and also the time for the doctor to actually, in a day, if a doctor is seeing about 40 patients, they will be able to see about 70 patients. So that is one area. Again, technology is again playing a large, in future, is about accessible to emergency medications. So one of the areas where we are also in is, we are in delivering of medicines, which is to the doorstep, where we see convenience is a very, very big factor for people to actually come in and order medicines, because that has been again a challenge for places like tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities where rural, it is very difficult, because most of the medicine they have to come to a nearby city to actually get it. If they don't get it, or the local pharmacist will get it after 2 to 3 days. So technology is playing a very large part now, but it is in a very early stage, I would say.
The marriage has just started.
It's just started to happen.
Sure, I'm sure the honeymoon will follow later. Geetha, you're running Niramai, and I think it's doing outstanding work to bring the technology to the masses. For all the entrepreneurs who are sitting here, do you think healthcare is the next big thing? For everyone out here who's exploring opportunities to get into healthcare, the problems are massive and the payoffs can be huge as well.
Sure, definitely healthcare is a wonderful space for entrepreneurs to be working upon. One is like previous speakers said, right, Dr. Vishnu, there is a uphill on the marriage between technology and healthcare. So if you are a technology enthusiast and entrepreneur, want to take technology to the healthcare, this is the right space, the right time to get onto the to the curve which is moving up, get onto the wave, right? So that is one aspect. Second aspect is a huge need, like doctor also mentioned, that can be solved with technology. There's a huge need which can again turn into some kind of a business opportunity. These two things that entrepreneurs every time get asked by, if you want to raise investment and so on. So there is a huge opportunity, there is a huge population and so on. And most of all, and what gets us sticking is a huge amount of satisfaction that you get. right? If you go to a camp and every time you screen a patient, right, this lady could be 60-year-old. Once the test is done, she almost comes and sort of, she's so much of gratitude, almost coming like, falling at the feet kind of a thing, right? There's so much of satisfaction in trying to help people with what you know, right? And I think that third one really, really makes it worth it. But the only caution is that it's not easy. It's not at all easy. It's not as easy as you do an e-commerce platform. I'm sorry, I'm using that. I'm sure there will be a lot of hardship even there for those of you who are doing it. But it is very hard for multiple reasons. One is I'm actually a doctor from my PhD in computer science. I'm not a medical doctor. So we need to reach out and partner with the domain experts. And they're already very, very busy. Trying to find time and learn alongside, that is one challenge, just understanding the problem. And in India and even elsewhere, it's much tougher. When you have a new technology, obviously you should not harm the patient. So you have to be ethically correct and you don't do that. But then there is this apprehension about new technology done by sort of the Indian company, those kinds of things. You mean good, and we've proven many, many times with 2,500 patients the accuracy is good. Still we get asked additional questions. Again, fair enough, but that kind of building the trust with the end user, with the patients, with the doctors is also important.
Sure. So extensively gratifying but not very easy,
Yeah, long
to sum it up.